Previously, on Gritcraft.
It's not about people's feelings, it's about the truth and rejecting the lies, and we have to stand up.
They're embracing lies, Marjorie Green claimed.
So let's talk about furries.
Oh, God.
It was addressed by a child.
Dude, I called it! I called it! I fucking knew it! They were gonna make this into a thing! Don't make furries into the next thing, please. Please don't. Please don't.
I don't even want to understand it.
I don't even want to understand it. That is the slogan of every single conservative throughout the United States. I don't even want to understand it.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked.
Oh my God, this fucking guy! No, not again. I didn't want to do this again. God damn it. Motherfucker, we already did this. I didn't want to do this again. Fuck, why? No. Oh no. I begged them. Please don't make this into the next thing, and they made it a fucking thing. Oh no. And when you come, it means
School administrators, what is going on? Nebraska Department of Education, what is going on?
It is such a source of disappointment that I felt the necessity to communicate this message to you, right? Across the country from New York to Iowa and Texas.
I don't want Twitch to be weird.
Heidi Ganahl is the GOP's gubernatorial nominee in the state of Colorado, and much like her GOP peers, she's trying to gin up hysteria over what's happening in schools. But unlike her GOP peers, she's not necessarily hyper-focusing on CRT or LGBTQ+ books that she wants to ban. Rather, she's focusing on cats, or should I say students that she is alleging are identifying as cats. And to make matters worse, schools, 30 of which her campaign has identified, are accommodating these cat-identified students, according to her.
Bro, it just never ends. It just never fucking ends, does it? It's just stupid shit. Stupid shit. Stupid shit. Stupid shit. Oh my God, dude. This has been debunked so many times. School board officials will say, yo, do you want to come into our school? Like, we can show you that there's no litter boxes in the bathroom or anything like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh. They meow and they bark.
Now, it's not happening, obviously, but this is what she says, according to LGBTQ.
Oh my God. Did you...
In a radio interview last week, Ganahl said that schools are tolerating students identifying as cats. She said in a recent debate with gay incumbent Governor Jared Polis that she had received over 100 messages from parents across Colorado mentioning the issue in their schools. Her campaign also released a list of 30 schools where such issues had allegedly occurred, though the list didn't detail specifics about the incidents themselves, the Denver Post reported. Quote, as a candidate for governor, but more than anything as a parent, my concern is that distractions like children dressing up in costumes at school detract from the reality that 60% of our kids are not performing at grade level, Ganahl said. It's tragic that we are failing our children. We need to make them our priority. Now, it's ironic that she says that because rather than proposing solutions to improve the Colorado school system, rather than trying to allocate more resources to teachers so that way they're not having to use their own resources to purchase school supplies, she's simply just trying to gin up outrage about something that's not even happening in schools. Now, on September 6th, I actually posted a really lengthy video talking about a relatively similar myth to this. Now, to my knowledge, Ganahl has not explicitly claimed that schools are going so far as to accommodate cat-identified students by placing litter boxes in restrooms. However, I do believe that what she's saying stems from that original conspiracy theory. Now, I'll link you to my full coverage of this down below, but if you don't want to watch that and you just want the TLDR version, this myth essentially originated from this December 2021 video posted by Midland Public Schools.
Yesterday, I heard something.
Oh my God. Dude, I don't want to do this again.
Were you about to press the skip button?
Yeah, baby.
Now, this is not happening. It's not happening, and it doesn't seem like Ganal is curious enough to investigate herself. She's just taking these parents' word, and rather than contacting school officials, because this is a potential governor, she's just repeating what they're saying.
I swear to God, dude, like, it almost seems like this has to fail at some point, right? This has to stop.
It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay?
At some point. Not because it's stupid, even though it is, but because, like, it's always a game of, like, you gotta top yourself all the fucking time. You gotta top it, top it, top it, top it. You know, and now we're at litter boxes in bathrooms for furries and stuff, and it's just, well, where else can you go from here? Sex education is getting out of control. They're not only handing out condoms to our teenage children, but those who identify as furries, they're being handed dead snakes to sheath their cocks with. Like, where are they gonna go from here? Like, I don't, like, oh my God. At some point, like, there's no topping it. Like, what more weird, avant-garde, obscure outrage are you gonna manufacture next? Like, what do you, like, they can't keep it going. What makes them think they could?
It's ridiculous. And of course, schools, once again, have had to come out and state the obvious. No, there are not students who are identifying as cats, and we're not trying to accommodate said students who are identifying as cats. It's so preposterous. The Denver Post explains officials for Denver Public Schools, Cherry Creek...
It's always people who look like this, by the way. Okay, can I make that distinction real quick? It's always people who look like this.
Officials for Denver Public Schools, Cherry Creek Schools, Aurora Public Schools, and Colorado Springs School District 11 all denied having any issues with students dressing up as cats or other animals. Two statewide organizations representing teachers and administrators criticized Ganal's claims and said they had never been made aware of such issues either. Randy Barber, a spokesman for Boulder Valley School District, which is included on a list Ganal's campaign provided of schools where students dress like animals, said he was unaware of any such issues. Quote, the concerns being generated by the Republican gubernatorial candidate are baseless, he said. The claims are exhausting for educators, said Brett Miles, the executive director of Colorado Association of School Executives. His group, along with the Colorado Education Association, described the claims as false. Both groups said no educator, administrator, or district had ever reported issues similar to Ganal's claims. Now, that same individual who was just quoted went on to make a really good point. He said, look, we are just trying our best to give students some semblance of normalcy after living through 2 years of a pandemic, which is still going on, but, you know, schools are back open, and we're trying to make things the best that we can do, right? And we have to take time out of our day to investigate these claims and then report back to parents when they're false, they're bullshit. And yeah, so all of these concerns.
I don't understand where this shit comes from. I really don't. They could just say anything, dude. They could just say anything, dude. You know what? 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 I am running in Ohio as a Republican nominee, okay? I'm gonna rile up my base. Oh wow, look at this Libs of TikTok post, tweet, whatever the fuck. There are people who are wearing diapers to school because they identify as you know, their pronouns are baby and uwu. Airplanes are now spraying gay spray in our clouds. The fucking what? Oh my god.
What's stopping you from calling the school? You are a parent. You can call the schools. You don't have to just echo the same thing that you hear on social media. Ask them. I'm sure that they'll talk to you. I'm sure the principal or whoever will say, okay, well, you know, I haven't seen this, but we'll look into it and we'll get back to you. They're willing to work with you.
Right.
But they just don't want to do that. They just repeat what they hear, and it's like a game of conspiracy theory telephone. This is all hysteria, primarily over trans issues, right? Because the whole joke on the right with comedians and whatnot is that if I can be a girl if I was born a boy, then I can identify as anything, including an Apache attack helicopter. Right. So what's stopping students from identifying as non-human species? And it's just not true. By trying to pretend as if students are identifying as cats, well, this further legitimizes this hysteria over trans issues because, well, you know, maybe your kid isn't trans, but maybe they're a trans species and they're identifying as cats, and ignorant conservatives take that as evidence that we should hide away trans people because they're influencing our children to become cats when it's just not happening. So once again, this story has popped up. It had to be debunked, and I'm sure within a couple of months, once again, we'll hear from a Republican who says, I heard that there's litter boxes in restrooms at one school. Like, it's not going to die. It's not going to go away. It's going to keep happening, and schools are going to have to continue to respond to this bird brain claim that cats in schools, or that students in schools are identifying as cats. On its face, these parents should be smart enough, have at least enough common sense to assume, seems a little bit implausible, but if I care enough, I'll look into it. But that's not happening. And so they're contacting Republicans, and these are becoming political stories. It's got to stop.
Stop!
Conservatives who come across this, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be another fucking Furries video. You realize you're stupid, right? Like, you realize that if you vote for these people, let alone fall for these stories, you're fucking stupid, right? Like, you realize that you're dumb, right? Like you're dumb. This is stupid. Anyone who bases a political policy or prescription of any kind around students in school identifying as cats and litter boxes in the bathroom to accommodate them, after being debunked so many times and so many school districts saying, no, this isn't a thing, stop asking. You're stupid if you keep going. You're stupid. Jesus Christ, dude.
3 weeks later.
Joe Rogan hasn't said anything too stupid, at least stupid enough to warrant my coverage, or at least not that I'm aware of over the course of the last couple of months. So maybe he's trying to play it straight to prove all of us wrong about what we thought about him previously, but he certainly broke that streak in a recent podcast episode with Tulsi Gabbard, because he's going to recite one of the dumbest fake stories of the year, if not of the last 5 years or so. Now, he's fallen for fake stories before, but this is by far the dumbest of all of them, because he's going to claim that students are using litter boxes at schools if said students identify as cats. Now, this is a claim that has been spread multiple times in multiple school districts. We'll talk about the history of this myth.
Bro,
and I've debunked it multiple times. But
there's kids, ready for this? My friend, his wife, is a school teacher. And she works at a school that had to install a litter box in the girls' room because there is a girl who's a furry who identifies as an animal, and her mother badgered the school until they agreed to put a litter box in one of the stalls. So this girl goes into the litter room or to the girls' room and urinates or whatever. I don't know if she poops in it. That's pretty gross. You know what I mean? Like, if you could teach your cat, by the way, here's the thing. If you could teach your cat to use the toilet, you would. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want a box of piss in your house. It's the worst. I've had cats my whole life. It's the worst thing about having cats. You got to clean that box of piss every day.
Yeah.
Like, it's the greatest thing about dogs. They go outside. Like, you're a fucking
The
human.
cat's got their humans trained.
Imagine how crazy that is. You're a fucking human being, and you prefer a litter box. You want to piss into a pile of sand rather than use a bathroom that you could flush the toilet, wipe yourself like a normal person. Like, you're so crazy with what you think an animal is that not only have you said this, but you've conned the school into putting this fucking litter box in a girl's room.
Yeah.
Which is bananas.
It is.
Joe.
Oh, Joe. Joe, you dumb bitch. First of all, I don't know if I believe that his friend told him this. Well, I don't. Oh, Joe, you dumb bitch. Oh, Joe. Joe, you dumb bitch. First of all, I don't know if I believe that his friend told him this. I don't know if he's making that up, but one of you are lying here, either you or your friend or your friend's wife. Listen, whenever somebody tells me something that's really unbelievable, I ask for proof. If one of your friends tells you something that's super bizarre, wouldn't you say, prove it, show me a picture?
Right.
Why hasn't a single person who has made this claim been able to produce a shred of evidence?
Yep.
Why have we not seen a single picture of a litter box in a school? I mean, if you really wanted to prove this, if there were no evidence, it's easy enough to fake. You could just find some public bathroom, put a litter box in it, shit in it, take a picture of that, and then you can at least spread that onto the internet. It'd take a little bit longer to be debunked, but they're not even trying. They're just repeating what one person says after hearing that from a different person. It's like conspiracy theory telephone, and the myth just won't die. Now, forgive me if you've already seen where this came from before, because we talked about this. And that video went viral after it was shared by libs of TikTok, but this is what I'm talking about. This is where the myth originated.
I want to talk to
my
about
God.
so let's talk about furries. It was addressed by a child a couple months ago.
Just shut the fuck up!
Where they're
How much y'all want to bet that this whole thing started with, like, a student trying to troll? Could you imagine how dumb this fucking person would feel? If, like, okay, so let's consider this part.
a child. So let's talk about furries. It was addressed by a child.
It was addressed by a child. Okay, so I'm guessing someone who goes to that school and is probably a master at trolling. Okay, like this kid is probably terminally online and is like, yo, this would be such a great meme, dude. What if I convinced the entire country that there's litter boxes being put in schools' bathrooms, right? What would happen? Well, we're seeing it happen. We're seeing it happen right here. Could you imagine how dumb they would feel if they all realized that they just got trolled? I almost want to believe that that's the most likely possibility. That the report of this is true, but everything about this being a thing isn't. That it's just a troll. It's just a meme, guys. It's just a meme. Quite unironically. Oh, God, it'd be such fucking gold.
A couple months ago, that they are put in an environment where there are kids that identify as a furry, a cat or a dog, whatever. And so yesterday I heard that at least one of our schools in our town has in one of the unisex bathrooms, a litter box for the kids that identify as cats.
Now, after she said that, the school district had to come out and say, no, this is not happening, but the myth continued to spread. Now, the reason why these claims, as absurd as they are are persuasive to a lot of Republicans and concerned parents is because the way that they are seemingly, or at least ostensibly, linked to LGBTQ plus issues, right? Because we see the hysteria over trans issues.
Right.
And we see this Republican claim that, well, if my son can now become a girl and identify as a woman, then what's stopping other students from identifying as cats? It's similar to the gay marriage argument, right? Oh, well, if I as a man can marry another man, then why can't I marry another dog? This is the trans equivalent of that. So,
you know, I should just fuck with people and change my Twitter bio to where, like, and maybe even my Twitch bio to like include pronouns or something, and just put down like goat/ram, right? And so anyone who fucks with me, like, I could just like headbutt them. God, this is so stupid. This is so stupid. God, this is so stupid. Oh God, why are people like this? Oh God, dude, I haven't even really been a Twitch streamer that long, dude, okay? And, like, even as a transhumanist who is, like, marveled by technological advancement, I increasingly am coming into the belief that the internet was a mistake. Jesus fucking Christ.
in this same podcast episode, Joe Rogan and Tulsi Gabbard engaged in transphobia, where they praised self-described theocratic fascist Matt Walsh's documentary.
Oh my God!
The ultimate checkmate is, what's a woman?
Yeah.
I mean, when
It's
you're coming
really
with wokeness and you can identify as a woman, you get to use the female restroom. Like, okay, but what
is a man? What is a man? Joe, can you tell me that? What's a man? What makes you a man? Shut up. What is it like? Is it a cock and balls? Is that what makes you a man? Because if so, like, that's really fucking sad. And I think you know that that's sad. I think you know it's self-deprecating, you know, of a definition of what makes a man. So you can't say cock and balls. What is a man? Checkmate, guys. It's the ultimate checkmate. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
What's a woman? You know, can a man get pregnant? Yes. Okay, well, what is it? Can a biological male get pregnant? And then people panic and they start... people that identify as a woman are capable of being pregnant, and people that identify as a male are capable of also being pregnant. Like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
What you said it. You said it. You said, what do you mean? What do you say? You said it. You said it. You said. It's not that difficult. It's not difficult. It's not that hard to understand, folks. It's not difficult.
So, say, if you identify as a woman, what are you identifying as? Like, that's the documentary, the Matt Walsh documentary.
Exactly.
Which is fucking amazing. And
Oh my
also,
God, dude. Okay, all right. If you think that's amazing, I've got a bridge to sell you, man. Hold on. If you think Matt Walsh's documentary is amazing, then man, wait till I tell you about this one guy. Wait, oh man, like this guy, I think you two would jive pretty well, I must say. It's always these meatheads, bro. I swear to God, the meathead phrenology always ends up including some of the most dumbest fucking takes I've ever heard in my entire goddamn life.
No one's reviewing it. That documentary is fantastic because Matt Walsh and you can only get it on the Daily Wire, I think, which is unfortunate, but I get it. You know, I get it. The Daily Wire produced it. They want people to sign up, and they're creating this alternative platform for content. But that documentary is so good because Matt Walsh simply asks questions, and he doesn't...
Just asking questions, guys. I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions that ends up going into bomb threats at a hospital. I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions, guys. I'm just asking questions that end up with, like, bigoted mobs beating up trans men who are told to use the women's restroom by bigoted ass camp leaders, right? This is a story you can look up, by the way. You know, oh my god. Just asking questions, guys. I'm just asking questions. Just asking questions, guys. Just asking questions. I end up like potentially getting people raped and killed. Just asking questions. Just asking questions.
Matt Walsh simply asks questions, and he doesn't, and he does it deadpan.
Yep.
And it's amazing watching these people just like twist reality into some weird fucking contortionist knot. It's like, what are you saying?
It's
what
so
is a
revealing.
woman? What does it mean?
By studying the DNA of 30 transgender men and women who had been diagnosed with gender dysphoria, they found what they described as 21 rare variants in 19 genes and pathways in the brain associated with the sex hormone estrogen. The pathways are thought to be important for shaping whether the brain is masculine or feminine. Oh, wow. Imagine that.
It's so revealing.
You know, you're marching
so
for
revealing.
women's rights, but what does that mean? So if I decide I'm a woman and I go out, you're marching for me? I'm a woman now.
Right.
You could just say it?
Yeah.
Like, we can't have that. That doesn't make sense. And
Oh, my God.
you could just say it?
Yeah.
Like, we can't have that. That doesn't make sense. And it doesn't mean you can't have trans people. It doesn't mean that.
Yes, it
You can
does.
most certainly-
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does, Joe, you dumb piece of shit. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. The shit that you are doing, the shit you are promoting, leads to no trans people. That's what that fucking leads to, dude. That's what that... Oh, my God, what a dumb fuck. Oh, what a dumb fucking dumb fuck. Oh, my God. The meathead phrenology, guys. There's something to it. There's something to it. There's something to it. Swear to God, dude. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. Pros and cons. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what I'm saying is that putting in general neutral language into a Google search regarding transgender people, transgender statistics 2022, transgender studies quality of life, transgender studies pros and cons, things like this, like pretty neutral language. It, like, literally, that took me like 40 seconds. Okay, that took me between 5 and 15 seconds per search to just be like, oh, that's a thing I could look up. That's a thing I could look up. This is a thing I could look up. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, the point is that it does not take much effort to just not assume a thing is true from someone like Matt Walsh, who self-identifies as a fucking theocratic fascist. The guy who made the fucking documentary that you're praising. Like, fucking research your shit is basically the point I'm trying to make, and that it really isn't, it doesn't take much time. And, like, here's the thing. I used to be a fan of Joe Rogan, okay? I used to be a fan of Joe Rogan. I haven't watched him lately, but I would think that this would be a good place for him to be like, hey, Jamie, pull up this thing real quick. Can you look up something about, you know, transgender people real quick? you know, look up something that's fair too. Look, just, you know, like, why isn't he getting this sidekick here?
We can't have that. That doesn't make sense. And it doesn't mean you can't have trans people. It doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
You could most certainly.
And it doesn't mean you're against.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, you're not denying anyone's existence either.
Yes,
they exist. However, if you want to be pregnant, you must be a biological female. This is science.
Well, I've just got to say that I'm really happy to see Joe Rogan back on the pro-science bandwagon again, because for all of 2021, he was spreading a lot of medical misinformation with regard to COVID-19 and vaccines and ivermectin. So it's nice to see that all of a sudden he values science if he believes he can use science for his anti-trans agenda. But the question, what is a woman? I mean, if it's such a gotcha, if it's so easy to answer it, then answer that question. You know, he talks about how there's this confusion over who can and can't get pregnant. I mean, it's really not that confusing. There are individuals who are non-binary, who are trans men, who have reproductive organs that have children. It's that simple. Trans men can get pregnant. Nobody's saying that if you don't have the reproductive organs, you're going to be able to get pregnant. That's not what anybody is saying. So this is nothing but a straw man, right?
Again, thank you, Mike. Thank you. Because, like, that's exactly the problem with this fucking conversation. Okay, that's exactly the fucking problem with this conversation. They keep on insisting that what we on the left and we who are like pro-trans rights, what we are advocating for, what we are trying to say is that gender and sex are the same thing. No one is saying that. No one is saying that. We are actually insisting the opposite, which, number one, is why they're two different words, okay? I don't know if you all know how language works. I'm not necessarily saying that I do myself. But they're two different words for a reason, okay? If gender meant sex and sex meant gender, then they wouldn't be two different words. We would have an umbrella term. We would have an encapsulating term that would encapsulate both of those things, because in that parallel universe, they're the same thing, right? But that's not the fucking case. We have differentiated between sex, one word, and gender, another word. We have differentiated and distinguished these two because they're two different fucking things. Holy fuck, dude. Like, it's not that hard to understand. Again, okay, I'm about to demonstrate this again for you. I'm about to demonstrate this again, okay? There's one tab. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 seconds to pull up two tabs. Define gender, define sex. Sexual activity, including specifically sexual intercourse, a person's genitals, either of the two main categories, male and female, into which humans and most other living things are divided on the basis of the reproductive functions, the member of either sex considered as a group, the fact of belonging to either the male or female sex, okay? We're talking about genitals here. We're talking about genitals and reproductive function. Gender. Either of the two sexes, male and female, especially when considered with reference to social and cultural differences rather than biological ones. Holy fuck. Wow! 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 The term is also used more broadly to denote a range of identities that do not correspond to established ideas of male and female, members of a particular gender considered as a group, the fact or condition belonging to or identifying with a particular gender. In languages such as Latin, Greek, Russian, and German, each of the classes, typically masculine, feminine, common, neuter, of nouns and pronouns, distinguished by the different inflections that they have and require in words syntactically associated with them. Grammatical gender is only very loosely associated with natural distinctions of sex. It took me 10 seconds to look up two different definitions of two different words. Joe Rogan, you dumb motherfucker. Like, it doesn't take much, buddy! It doesn't take much! Why couldn't you just go to your fucking guy and be like, hey, Jamie, can you pull up the definition of gender and the definition of sex, please? And then, maybe, you'd get it! maybe you'd get it a little bit more, but as we can clearly see here behind Mike, the fucking meathead phrenology is fucking blocking him from fucking truth seeking because he's a piece of shit grifter who does not care about whether or not he's contributing to a movement that is terrifying transgender people and non-binary people back into the closet and or exterminating them from life at fucking self, all right? Because he's a piece of shit who does not care if his loads of fucking Spotify money is drenched in the blood of queer people, okay? Fuck Joe Rogan. Whoo! And Tulsi Gabbard.
And what I want to encourage everyone to do, rather than just debunking that claim myself, I want to point everyone to the problem with Jon Stewart's episode on gender issues, because he, I think, did the most thorough deconstruction of all transphobic arguments that I've ever seen. He challenges a right-wing attorney general, and what he did was flawless. And I dare anyone who's transphobic to watch that and try to come up with some counter arguments, because it is very difficult, because his arguments are soundproof, because they are grounded in data, in the medical consensus, right? So the reason why I showed you that clip primarily is to show you the way that this litter box myth is being championed by people who are also hysterical over trans issues. Now, the last thing that I want to show you to put a cherry on top of this shit sundae is the way that they praised an anti-LGBTQ governor who single-handedly perhaps repopularized anti-LGBTQ plus hate in this country, Ron DeSantis.
And I think if they had someone like Ron DeSantis, who seems to be like the most reasonable amongst the potential candidates, he seems to be, you know, a pretty no-nonsense guy, not without his flaws, but he's
what
more
are his flaws
reasonable than anything that I'm seeing on the left.
How is he reasonable?
At least with the way he handled COVID.
Yeah. He's more reasonable than anyone on the left, and Tulsi Gabbard agrees. She's just jumping right into this new Republican grift, right? She just left the Democratic Party yesterday, and in that same day when this podcast episode was recorded, she was already on the DeSantis train. Now, I love how in the last clip that I showed you, he claimed that, you know, we've got to trust the science. But here, he's praising DeSantis, claiming that he's reasonable because of his COVID response. Let me remind you what Ron DeSantis did. He basically did nothing to handle COVID-19.
Yeah.
But what was especially egregious is the way that he banned schools from implementing mask mandates.
Yep.
I thought that you were pro-science, Joe Rogan. What does the science say about masks? What, do you think that they're faulty as well? Because that isn't what the scientific consensus believes. And if Joe Rogan actually believes that, I would encourage him the next time that he has surgery, instruct your surgeon to not wear masks. Let them cough inside of your body and see how you feel about that. I think that you might argue, I'd feel better if you had the mask on, right?
Right.
So Joe Rogan is an imbecile.
That is actually a perfect fucking comparison right there, man. Listen, people who are anti-COVID or anti-mask mandate or anything like that, anti-vax, don't get ibuprofen. If you break your arm or something, don't go to the hospital, you know, because all those techniques and all of those pharmaceutical drugs, they're developed by Big Pharma, and you don't trust Big Pharma, do you? Right? Don't get Tylenol. Don't get ibuprofen. Don't get surgery. Don't get, if they're trying to give you an anesthetic when you're in the dentist office for like a really like deep, like maybe like a root canal or something like that, you know, if you ever get on anesthetic, no. Just deny it. Just deny it. As a matter of fact, don't even go to the dentist either whenever you got your wisdom teeth, just pushing all of your shit forward and like Britifying your fucking teeth there, okay? Like, just don't do it. Just don't do it, you know? Just don't fucking do it. And and admit that you don't know shit about gender or sex or anything to do with transgender people, and that you just follow along with whatever the current narrative is, such as with fucking litter boxes.
I'd feel better if you had the mask on, right? So Joe Rogan is an imbecile, and I don't think that that's going to change anytime soon. He brings on people, guests in particular, that just will agree with him or parrot what he has to say. He very rarely brings on somebody who will challenge him. Yeah. But this is Joe Rogan. This isn't necessarily a surprise to see him fall for another dumb story. But just to see how dumb this story is, it really proves how unintelligent he is, how he is just not intellectually curious. Because again, a normal person who doesn't have a massive platform, if you heard something preposterous like he heard from your friend, wouldn't you say, bullshit, give me proof, show me a picture? But he's not curious enough to ask that. He just thinks, oh, well, you know, the schools have gone woke, so this must be true. I'll take it at face value and then repeat that on my podcast to millions of viewers.
What about education? What are we doing to our kids? Why are we telling elementary kids that they get to choose their gender this week? Why do we have litter boxes in some of the school districts so kids can pee in them because they identify as a furry? We've lost our minds.
All right, just I want you to know what he just said there. He said, what about education? Now, he made it explicit. We're allowing them to be trans in school. We're allowing them to identify as a furry and allowing them to have litter boxes in schools. You know, I mean, I imagine people in the audience would be like, whoa. First off, I don't know if he did this on purpose. I mean, if he's lying or not, or he actually believes it. I imagine he actually believes it because they so want to.
Yeah.
But he'll pay no price for this. This will get his people out. Those people who are there to hear him speak are going to go, I've got to go to save the kids. Save the kids from being in a classroom where other kids are using kitty litter. This is what they're doing. I don't know if anybody's going to go out and vote against this guy because he is a transphobe who is so desperate to suggest that trans identifying kids are such a threat to society that, you know, you got to go out and vote against them. Like, yeah, that's going to work. But
And, you know, I mean, this is something that's already been through the Minnesota GOP in May, on May 9th, the Mankato Free Press. Our view, spreading debunked rumors, not the role of lawmakers. The stories about litter boxes being provided in schools smells fishy because it is. And the Minnesota GOP, which is degenerate, like fascist, was... You know, this is an article of faith among them now. But I think it's like a sign of the weakness of the anti-trans arguments that they need to go to. Right. First, it was like, we're just concerned about awards and for who wins first place. And then we're just concerned about these furries. It's like, because when you actually say, do you support kids social transitioning? You know that's a loser.
Right. Right. You need to show that this actually is a slippery slope, and where it leads to is kids peeing in litter boxes in schools, and that's just the beginning. That's just the beginning, because the actual like percentage of children who. And for when we're talking about children, we're really just talking about therapy. Therapy and maybe dressing in a way that identifies with a different gender. And then maybe at one point, puberty blockers, which have been taken by kids for myriads of reasons over the years. Mm-hmm. And then in some very narrow circumstances, as the kids get older, some type of surgery to inhibit, particularly, I think, in transmasculine kids, you know, top surgery, which of course top surgery was also around for girls who were just whose breasts were too large for them to feel comfortable with.
I literally have an ex who has really had really big tits to a point where it was hurting her back, like chronic pain hurting her back, and she had to get a breast reduction. You know, like top surgery is for a myriad of reasons. And what about breast cancer? Like you know what I mean? Like it's just like Oh my god. Kids aren't pissing in litter boxes. Can we stop?
Stop it. Get some help.
I sent back the files. I shawty, I love her. She still gon' act like I ain't done enough. You bitches be lying. I ain't got the time. That's why I'm in love with my double cup. I'm out of my mind. My words be slime. I bought a new mirror to fuck it up. I bought Mercedes to fuck it up. I bought a AP to fuck it up. I just tryna run the cake up. Versace sheets just to make love. Got a profit just to make drugs. Cause I'm tryna flood the face up. I been fucking with the same plug. I been fucking with the rich niggas. Had to whip it with my wrist, nigga. Then I got it on my wrist, nigga. Yeah, yeah. Of a rich nigga. About the consequences of a rich nigga. I seen too many niggas switch, nigga. I can never be a bitch, nigga. Ain't nobody give me shit. I got it on my own score with no assist, nigga. Pyrex or a hit, nigga. Either way, I be a rich.